This is gameplay of Marathon. These are some of the key moments and highlights that my team and I had during the time that we were able to capture footage. While I plan on doing full breakdowns on each part of the game, today I want to focus on my favorite moments, highlights, and things that I enjoyed most in my time with Marathon. I am thankful beyond words to have had the privilege to take part in this experience, going to Bungie and playtesting Marathon. It feels like no short of a dream for me. As you can see in the gameplay, we played in teams of 3 where I had the absolute pleasure of meeting and teaming up with Tens and Kaide. I had such a fun time playing alongside them. I felt we were just so locked in and just enjoying the game. As many of you may already know, there are different runners in Marathon, and we had 4 to choose from. Initially, I started playing on a runner named Locust, with Tens on Glitch and Kaide on Blackbird. I later on ended up swapping to Void, and Kaide tried Locust at one point, but she felt more value on Blackbird, and I think ultimately it was the right decision. So our main team comp that felt like it had some decent synergy was Glitch, Void, and Blackbird. And I'll elaborate on what exactly those runners actually mean in a moment. When we started, we very quickly learned that the AI do not mess around. They will get in your face, they are aggressive, and they deal a lot of damage. There was a given point where the AI almost felt like the real threat. Given that we're all more PvP focused players, we had a simple strategy for gearing up. Let other teams do a little bit more of the heavy lifting and looting, and we can hopefully go take the loot from them. We still focused on looting when the opportunity presented itself, but I think we were generally confident enough to repeatedly go for high priority points of interest on the map. My favorite things to do on the map was the profit opportunity. This felt like a game-wide central objective to attract people that included a fun mini puzzle of having to match numbers on monitors to one another, and finally intercept the UESC, kill a boss, grab a crate drop with loot in it, and exfil with the crate to get bonus loot. Supply drops were also fun because they would sound a very loud alarm that was sure to attract players, but gave you some pretty good loot if you could survive and wait for the crates to be dropped. There was a handful of other activities to do on the map that included defeating some pretty challenging AI, which also meant, of course, that you were vulnerable to players while you tried to do so, so the timing in which you engaged with it mattered quite a bit. With our strategy, I felt a strong gameplay loop and flow. We get stronger builds and customization by attacking points of interest and challenges on the map, and usually finding players in the process. And teamwork and coordination between our gunplay, positioning, and runner's abilities felt really fresh and satisfying when we would pull it off well. All the while having high stakes that made every challenge feel exhilarating and ensured that I was constantly locked in and focused. I really love the flow of this game, especially in comparison to other extraction shooters that I'd played. I feel like it has all the traits of an extraction shooter, yet it has an understandable flow to it and almost has like a bit of an Apex-y feel to it too. I think a big contributor to that is again the points of interest and things to do on the map that I mentioned, but also the fact that the maps almost feel like they're built as PvP maps. We got to play another map called Perimeter, which was a lot more sectioned off and not quite as open as Dire Marsh that you're seeing here. And that map was like every section of it felt like its own PvP map. In a similar way, Dire Marsh, each area feels like a bit of an arena, but they have more open sightlines, and the greater map as a whole also still feels like it's structured like a PvP map with clear power positions, etc. I really enjoyed our team comp of runners. We had a Glitch, Void, and Blackbird, and I'll go over their abilities soon. Locust was something that we tried, I tried and Kaide tried, but we both didn't feel quite enough value. I'll go over all the runners' abilities in a moment, but I think Locust has a strong kit that lends itself to being more of a jack of all trades, master of none. And I think we, or at least I, gravitated towards a runner that felt like it gave more of an edge based on its specialty. So each runner has a prime ability, a tactical ability, and 2 trait abilities. Your prime is like your ult, your tactical is your main cooldown ability, and your 2 traits can be kind of like passives, but not always. It's kind of complicated. There's also a heat build-up system, which is almost like a stamina bar. Pretty much any sort of movement ability adds to this bar, and if you fill it up, you get overheated, where you have to then cool down before you do any other movement abilities like sprinting, sliding, and specialized abilities on each runner. I really enjoyed this system because it allowed there to still be some major movement spikes and some really powerful, fun movement abilities in the game, but didn't completely devalue positioning and some of the tactical and strategic play at the same time. It was very apparent to me that with this system, you had to be conscious about how and when you used your movement. The character I'm in all this gameplay here is Void. Void's prime ability is Smokescreen. You throw a smoke disc that emits a line of smoke fields in front of you that disrupt the optics of those who step inside it. The trait ability is my favorite, Active Camo. You activate your shell's camouflage systems, pulling a shroud of invisibility over yourself, but performing offensive actions, taking damage, using abilities, or consumables actually briefly disrupts and breaks your invisibility. I really like how that works, because the invis was strong and difficult to see, but you could break it and be caught out pretty badly. Void's first trait is Shadow Dive. Now, this is an ability on a cooldown. It's a 52-second cooldown, so that's why it's not quite a passive, but you activate it while you're airborne above a jump height to slam a smoke disc into the ground, and that deploys a smoke. The second trait, Shroud, ties the whole kit together. Your shell automatically activates active camo systems when entering any smoke field, making you invisible, and it actually persists for like 2 seconds after you leave the smoke field, so it lets you play a few repositioning mind games as well, and it works on generic smoke grenades, which is really cool. For Blackbird, the prime ability is Echo Pulse, which activates your shell's advanced detection systems, releasing a series of sonar pulses that reveal the location of nearby hostiles. So you get a series of intermittent pulses that work within a certain area. It's a very generous radius, I want to say. And it pings all enemies, showing you the type of shields they have, but not revealing if it's an AI or a player, which is up to you to figure out. Blackbird's tactical is a tracker drone. You get to deploy a mechanized microbot that tracks down nearby hostiles and explodes, which also overheats any targets that are caught in that blast. Blackbird's first trait is called Interrogation. When pinged by a hostile runner, you automatically receive a warning in your shell's heads-up display. But the second part, performing a finisher on a runner, pings their entire team no matter where they are on the map. And once we started playing to that, like you can see in the gameplay, it got crazy. Blackbird's last trait is Stalker Protocol. After breaking a combatant's shields, they leave behind a lingering holographic trail for a short time, so you can see their footsteps. This one was probably the least useful for me. Lastly, in our team comp was Glitch. The prime ability for Glitch was Amplify, which allows you to overcharge your movement systems. It reduces the heat buildup of movement abilities and increases movement speed and weapon handling or dexterity. The tactical ability of Glitch is one of the coolest abilities in the game. You transform your arm into a cannon and fire a high-powered energy projectile that deals damage and pushes or like boops targets away. And you can even overcharge this, which increases the size and damage of the blast. This tactical ability is called Disruptor. Glitch's 2 traits are really strong and almost always relevant. Firstly is Microjets. This is essentially a double jump. You can activate it in the air to perform a second jump at the cost of generating additional heat. And Power Slide, which gives you a supercharged slide that generates additional heat. I really love how our team comp performed. I think this was one of the most fun parts of the game for me, was seeing our ability usage get better and start to synergize, and how our runners synergize together, and our mastery of that, how it developed, was incredibly satisfying. I think Glitch was perfect for Tyson. He's an incredibly high skill player, and he gets to get in there, hit hard, hit fast, be aggressive, be agile and evasive, and just overall cause tons of chaos, and he was insane at doing so. I think some highlight moments that I saw was he used the Disruptor arm cannon after we had backed a team off and got an advantage. He had used that as they backed off to start healing to boop them and push them out of cover, and they were just like sitting ducks, and Kaide hit just an insane shot on one of them out of the air to just snipe them, and it was crazy. And there was just so many times where Tyson could use the double jump to kind of avoid the map pathing and create a better route for himself to either get to places quicker and get aggressive quicker, or to get to power positions that you wouldn't be able to get to otherwise. The traversal with the double jump is just game changing, I think. And even the super slide with that as a traversal tool, not even just in combat to be evasive and cause chaos, also elevates that quite a bit. I think me and Kaide definitely took more support roles. Kaide did a really good job on Blackbird, just always make sure that we had information. Clearing information when we were uncertain with the Echo Pulse, or initiating with Echo Pulse to just give us so much advantage heading into the fight was really, really strong. We heavily leaned into the finishers pinging the whole team, since it pings no matter where they are on the map. And that just felt like we were just able to roll squads. And I think the way that Glitch and Blackbird worked together was phenomenal. Blackbird gets info with Echo Pulse that gives an easier time for the Glitch to get aggressive, that casts Amplify to really get as aggressive as possible and have a full range of all the movement abilities necessary to get aggressive and cause chaos. And while Blackbird gives us information, the other side of the information game is limiting information, and that's where me playing Void felt really great. Active Camo is just one of my favorite abilities in any Bungie game. I love being able to sneak around and play the kind of sneaky, stealthy playstyle and mind games. There were times where I felt like I really enjoyed them being able to duo, and I was able to play an off angle or find the exit route, a separate angle that they don't expect me to be pinching them from, and put pressure in that way safely because of Active Camo. There are some times where they'd engage first at longer range, and I'll just go Active Camo and sneak up on the enemy team and just dismantle them all because they're so preoccupied with them. The other aspect of Void is a lot of versatility with the smokes. Smokes are really strong, whether it be the smoke slam or the row of smokes. Being able to kind of separate yourself almost on a whim is pretty powerful for neutralizing advantage, being a backup plan, or even having some degree of territory control or mind games. One of the best feeling moments, and I think this is when it really clicked for us, was I think Kaide had used an Echo Pulse on a team. Tyson was getting aggressive. I invised, and we were able to push this team essentially just behind a crate, where I jumped out invis and Tyson jumped out on the other side of the crate like in unison, and we just completely instantly dropped this team. I found myself having a good degree of satisfaction and enjoyment from the build crafting. Cores and implants felt like they had influential abilities and capacity, while still having reasonable trade-offs and some pretty cool power spikes when you get the higher level ones. None of it, while influential, felt particularly game-breaking, which is a breath of fresh air. I also felt that this was regularly accessible. A big concern I had for this game was, how are you going to build craft and work towards a way or style that you want to play if you run the risk of losing it so frequently? Luckily, each location is tied to a specific type of loot you're looking for, whether that be weapons, leg, body, or head implants, or cores. So you can target what you're looking for and have a good idea on how to go after it. Of course, there are different levels of cores, implants, backpacks, and shields that all also have effects to them too. This ranges from standard or gray all the way to gold, but sometimes it's interesting to think that the functionality that you might care for might matter more than the quality or amount of influence it has. Sometimes I was taking a gray core because I valued what it did more than the more potent effect of something that I didn't value as much. The most complete build I was able to play with Void consisted of a blue energy harvesting, which gave me plus 15 tactical ability recovery. That is, I assume, my cooldown speed of my invis or active camo, in exchange for minus 10 firewall stat. I'll go over these stats in a future video. I was lucky enough to find a gold implant, a gold nimble fingers, which gave me plus 5 agility, plus 50 loot speed, which is how fast you can loot, and increased hipfire accuracy and control. Pretty fitting for what I enjoy. My last implant was a green distance runner, which gave me plus 10 heat capacity in exchange for decreased weapon handling and ADS speed. I felt I needed this because my sprint is my main movement option, and more sprint time means more time to take advantage of my active camo. My cores were Second Wind and On a Roll. Second Wind allowed me to move and ready weapons faster for a short time after using a shield cell. On a Roll gave me a stacking bonus to agility, maxing out at 30 after defeating enemies, but being down would reset it to 0. I often use a med backpack to give me a faster time healing or using shields. And when possible, took a smoke grenade with me to have synergy with my runner. I think gold cores, implants, and just about anything that's gold had the most augmenting effects. I believe that Tyson found a gold backpack that, if I'm not mistaken, when you loot, would make you invisible. I believe there are also gold cores that are specific to runners, and again, many things at this gold level can have a really cool, heavily augmented characteristic. As a build crafting enthusiast, I'm really excited about the build crafting in this game and the degree of customizations it's offering. More than anything, I think that there's a new level of stakes that this brings to the table. Often to me, your build is an expression of yourself in the game, how you like to play, what you value, and your specific playstyle. I think something really cool about Marathon is that it's not just gear you're bringing, it's asking you to take that expression of how you play the game and put it on the line in your runs. Now let's talk about weapons. In the majority of my gameplay, I'm using the Bully, and I think the Bully was one of the best feeling weapons in the game, but also the strongest weapon in the game. The repeater was also incredibly strong. The recoil was a little jarring on controller, so I didn't use it quite as much, but my mouse and keyboard teammates were absolutely destroying people. I believe it's a 2-tap against some shields, and yeah, Tenzin Kaide were going insane with the repeater. The twin tap HBR felt great for the most part. I'm not really a fan traditionally of the 2 burst weapons that I've experienced in Destiny 2, but this one just felt right. The cadence between the shots felt perfect, and it felt substantial and satisfying to shoot. The Magnum MC was another one of my favorite weapons. This is very reminiscent of the Destiny 2 style hand cannons. Overall, just felt really great to shoot and felt really strong. I was able to 2-tap some shields with 2 headshots. These were my highlight weapons, but unfortunately a lot of the other weapons didn't really make a lasting impact with me. I think my team very early on understood and could feel what the best weapons were, and we pretty much just stuck to them. I think in some ways these weapons just felt better than the other weapons, and in some ways they were purely stronger. Ideally, I'd love these weapons to maintain a similar feel and not lose what makes them feel so great, but at the same time bring them down appropriately while hopefully bringing up the feel and power of other weapons where necessary. The gunplay is just as you would expect it to be from a Bungie game. It is the classic Bungie feel that is incredibly satisfying and fun. I don't think weapons in this game are quite as easy as in Destiny 2, which I think is largely a good thing, but I think they are striking a good balance of allowing that to have a bit more skill expression while not sacrificing the feel. I think there are some weapons that, of course, like I mentioned, could feel better and probably need some improvements, but the highlight weapons are very much representatives of the Bungie gunplay I know and love. A big difference between this game's gunplay and past Bungie titles, though, is that they've introduced movement error. This is cool in some ways as it carries the spirit of some tactical shooters and serves as an interesting contrast to some of the high movement spikes and abilities that are present in the game. I think this does a good job of maintaining the tactical and strategic aspect and pacing of the game while still allowing those to have a place to exist and ultimately putting a little bit more stress on players to consciously choose when they'll be using their movement abilities. I really wish I got to indulge myself a little bit more in the weapon attachment system, as that's a critical part of build crafting. As far as I could tell, weapons have a barrel, a chip mod, a sights, and a magazine mod, so there's a healthy degree of customization there. Unfortunately though, I felt that the weapons UI was, while I love all the nerdy facts and I'm the weapon nerd, it was a little overwhelming to take in and fully understand, especially in the heat of a moment in a run. The majority of these seem to be stat changes, which is important and allows you to customize a weapon to your feel, but I'm curious about what gold mods might do on weapons, as I wasn't fortunate enough to come across one. All in all, I'm very happy with my experience on the game. I had a blast once again playing with Tens and Kaide. I am truly quite excited for this game and very eager to get my hands on it again and play. I cannot wait. I feel like this game has such an interesting blend between classic Bungie kind of Halo and Destiny feel infused with a bit of tactical elements and almost a bit of an Apex feel in there too, all taking place in this extraction genre. And I think that's really interesting how they created balance in the pace of play in the tactical and strategic aspect, but still allowing there to be these cool power spikes that feel amazing. I plan for this to be the first video of many. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Take care.